What's up there, Fangs and Infernos? We are right back with you guys. It is day 2 of Pennsylvania HorrorCon, and we are hanging out with one of the greatest and one of the awesome people that we love ever so dearly, that we've gotten to meet a couple of times throughout our career and have like fun times and fun conversations and everything like that. So we appreciate Ryan and all of the courtesies that have been extended to us on behalf of myself and of course the devil right now. But that's enough about us, because it is all about her, as we are about to have a really nice conversation, a very enjoyable conversation, and who knows about what else, because you never really know if it's only cranberry juice or if it's something else. But we have the incomparable Felissa Rose joining us right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
And it is never just cranberry.
For clarification, you heard it right here. How has your weekend been so far?
It's amazing. I love being on the East Coast. I love being at Ryan's shows. I love being around our community and all the horror movies that I love so dearly. It's incredible.
Absolutely, for sure. And keeping it, up to date currently with everything that, that you and I got to discuss yesterday when Devil and I came by your table, is that you got to be a part of Shelley Duvall's final film, which I think is something that's so amazing, but also something that's incredibly valuable to discuss as well. So how was it, not only just with one of your longtime peers in the horror community, but somebody who you genuinely got to work with, let alone the fact it was her final appearance?
I mean, there's nothing I can say other than it was spectacular to work with somebody legendary like Shelley Duvall. And it took me a long time to actually feel like I could compose myself, because I'm looking into the eyes of a hero, of someone I have admired and respected. So it was quite extraordinary, but also emotional. I started crying and she was like, so tender with me, and I said, can I hug you? And she said, of course. And I felt like I learned a lot that day, because when you're working with somebody who has so much experience and is truly, look at this icon walking over. Look at what the wind blew in. Do you want that? Can you guess that face? That would be the question. Can you guess that face? Come in and say hi. Look. This is definitely the best interview ever.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, it's Dr.
Yes.
Wonderful person on the planet.
I love you. Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. So that's a great example of what we're kind of talking about.
Yes.
Shelley's amazing. I miss her dearly. I love that woman. I'm so thrilled to have that moment to always reflect on. But to have friends like that, like Lachlan, or I look around the room, Tyler May, Tony Moran. We're just really lucky to have each other.
Absolutely. And on that same topic, because I think it's very interesting to get, an actor's perspective on it. When it came to Shelley, for example, it was very well documented, the difficulties and also the stresses that came when certain directors have a very specific style for getting the best out of somebody, and certain situations that it can cause maybe in the long-term run. Based on what you would like to talk about, is there any situations that you could relate with similar to what Shelley went through back in the day, where, a director's style or just your personal needs might have caused stresses in getting into a character role?
That's a great question. So you always hope, once you take on a role and you're working on a project, prior to my working with the amazing directors I've worked with, there's always a big conversation about what's expected, because certainly they have a vision, a creative vision, and I want to fulfill that. I'm being hired to create. I mean, I can't relate on any level. I never had a hardship where we sort of had, I'm going to say that kind of stress I've never endured, because I've just worked with people, like I said, where the communication was so great, and what was expected of me was, kind of understood prior, or the directors I work with just let me run.
Yep.
Like Jason Wharton, who I love so dearly. I did Craving, A Hard Place, and now I'm beginning Apex Predators Club next month with him. he kind of lets me run, and it's exciting. Adam Green, Damon Leone, Michael Levy, Harrison Smith. There have been directors, Dave Campfield, that I can think of that have. If anything, I feel badly like I'm a wild boar. It's sort of like I want to create these outstanding people that come to life on screen and are captivating to an audience. You want your characters to come to life. I want to infuse them with some sort of energy and world that is thrilling to watch. So I've had great experiences.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely. Devil, my friend.
Yeah. We were talking about especially with newer films now, where you have directors like M. Night Shyamalan and all these guys with the the ending, the surprise twist ending. Your movie Sleepaway Camp, when you made that, it was kind of iconic because it was one of the first movies that had such an iconic surprise ending. Talk about just that moment when that came out, and if you saw people in the theaters and all that weren't expecting that. That obviously, if people who haven't seen Sleepaway Camp now, it's spoiler alert, but it should be already. Just that scene where all of a sudden, you see that Angela was packing a little bit extra.
A little something special there. Well, I brought my 8th grade class with me to watch the movie. So that was interesting. It was packed with all 13, 14-year-olds. And I, having never made a movie, didn't know what to expect in terms of you film, and then it's edited, and then the story comes to life in that kind of narrative. I only filmed a piece here, a piece there, so it didn't make sense how it would look. So when I saw the ending, I was like, what the? I was shocked, but I feel like, and I'm so grateful and thankful that people watch Sleepaway Camp today and it still resonates with audiences because of the social commentary. Because the movie is trying to really drive home, be genuine to who you are.
Yeah.
Don't bully. Be kind. Be loving to your people. Gender identification, sexual orientation. We are here to support each other and be exactly who you are. Life is short. This journey is short. And let's all just love each other.
Yeah, because honestly, between Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank and The Crying Game, those things weren't really tackled at that time. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. That situation and that lifestyle is involved very deeply in my family, so I'm a big supporter of that community. But those things in film, in cinema, weren't tackled at that time.
Right. We need more representation.
Yeah. Do you remember as going back, reading the script and understanding that, and then Devil, pick it right back up, my friend. Do you remember looking at that scene as well as the prosthetics involved and what you needed to portray as a young actress, going did you ever have a moment of, I don't know, or wow, this is way different than what at the time horror had built to be a thing?
No, I really, I was 12 when I was cast. I was 13, a new 13-year-old when I read the script and I was making the movie. So I didn't know deeply the roots of what the film was, but I understood the meaning behind what I'm saying, about being true to who you are and not bullying and all of that. But I love what the film represents today in terms of being true to yourself and, again, all of the social commentary. And I love that we have this conversation today.
Yeah.
If that's all Sleepaway Camp does, I am so proud for that. To have the conversation, to have representation, and to make sure that we continue.
Yeah. And even like you said, especially people who know you, you're considered the con circuit queen. You're literally every weekend you're at another con, and you're a con. You're always plugging that. And being seeing you with your fans and stuff like that. Tell about that experience of that first time you've ever done a con to versus now where you've kind of a seasoned pro of doing these con circuits.
Aw, you guys are so sweet. I was always very insecure, so it was hard for me to feel I was always nervous and had a little bit of I hope, I want everybody to have a great experience. And that transcends the movies. It's like a personal connection. So I feel like from where I began, where it was like, I'm so excited to just see my heroes. Now it's taken a personal note where it's like, I want to know where everybody else is coming from, and I want to connect and know that what these movies mean in an emotional way.
Yeah.
And how we sort of understand from horror the different depths of life that we might not talk about ordinarily every day. So I love that we connect on this deep emotional level, and that's where the cons are for me today. Let's hug everybody. Let's take care of each other. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And you were talking about working with Shelley. You know, we talked about you being on stream. Talk about working with, that we lost Tony Todd, the great Tony Todd.
Yeah, we've lost Tony Todd, one of my dear friends, Laura Park Lincoln.
Yep.
It's Sid Haig.
Yep.
And that's just such the worst part of life.
Yeah, exactly.
But the beautiful side is that their legacy lives forever.
Oh, yeah.
As long as we keep talking about them and we remember their films and what they mean. I have not been able to watch the new Final Destination because
it was tough,
because we all know Tony gives a speech,
Yep.
and I'm not ready. I don't know. It's going to be super emotional.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but like I said, especially when it comes to, with the cons, we're talking about that. You're talking about Sid. Sid was just genuinely one of the nicest people, man. He was just, he generally would hug you, just like conversations, you could tell he was super excited. And like you said, I understand, with the things like that. I just love the fact that he just stuck to his morals and the $10 meat. All it cost was $10 to meet him, and he was just like,
oh my god,
where cons have, it's gotten a little bit more expensive, and so he just kept that. Oh, $10, you can come and meet me.
Yeah,
it was just a genuinely happy person. It was like definitely a sad day for the horror community.
It's always a sad day when we lose anyone of our family, because I always say this is the family reunion you want to go to.
Yeah.
This is the family you want to be with. We come together because we're celebrating the movies, but each other, the friendships and the love that's in the room.
Exactly.
I know I've made my best friends from conventions, and I know people who have just from standing at the tables. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, like recently I watched one of Tony's older movies that he did with Rocky DeMarco called Vampire in Vegas. And so that was kind of fun to watch and just relax. I love the Final Destination series, but I'm also kind of the same. I haven't watched it yet. I'm good. I'll watch it. I'm excited to see how it all ends up, but I'm also aware of that moment in the movie too, to where it's kind of like, let me take a moment when it comes to that one for sure.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'd like to see I want to see his sentiments.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned, working with Damien, of course, and that what I now call that universe has really taken off, whether it, of course, be the Terrifiers, the Mean One, Stream, everything kind of involved in that, Screamboat. How do you look now at that franchise building where they had the first movie? Of course, there was so much excitement with Terrifier 2 that you were involved in. Now there's a third movie that's already out to the public with a fourth movie coming out. As this universe continues to grow with popularity, how do you look at yourself being a member of that community now?
I feel so freaking grateful. And it's not because, the movies are outstanding. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It is a group of people who have more creative juices and passion than anybody. And I am so happy that it's happened to them, because they are good people, in their hearts, good people. I love that I have a family.
Yeah.
I love they're my family. They were here yesterday. Being with them, all we do is laugh. All we do is it's just good love. And I am all for it. I'm here for the love.
Yeah. And you've had a little bit of time with that too, because you're talking about working with Damien, working with Terrifier. You also got to work with Adam Green in the Hatchet series and stuff like that, and like his that and stuff like that, and then the resurgence of Joe Bob coming out and you being the manual dick expert and stuff like that. It's kind of like between the Hatchet, between the Joe Bob, and between that the resurgence of Felissa coming out into the world again, and people getting to see you and stuff like that. So it's awesome. How has that been like to kind of get back in that into that huge limelight? I guess with the horror community and stuff like that, working with those kind of series like that, with Hatchets, with the Terrifiers, and stuff like that. How's that been? Working with this new generation of horror.
It's unbelievable, and to add to that, so Joe Bob Briggs and Deadbeat, James A. Janice and Chelsea, they have the kill count.
Yep.
They put a big spotlight on Sleepaway Camp, and I always say between James Janice and Joe Bob, they hit two different demographics of like watch Sleepaway Camp, and I thank them because people have started to watch it. They come to the table and say, I watched it because of Joe Bob, or I watched it because of James Janice. And that just really like blows up my heart. But also like being a part of like the fact that Adam Green cast me or Damien for me, cast me is like, it's just so unbelievable because that's our contemporary horror.
Yeah.
So to be here and to see like the old school and the new school, it's beautiful. It is so lovely.
Yeah. I mean, Devil's an old school Joe Bob guy. Like, I have a lot of respect for James with what he does. Like, that's also thing is like, we don't shy away from the fact that like horror talk shows, horror, podcasts and things, aren't a new thing, and there's a lot of them that you can watch. That's one of the reasons that Devil and I really like what we bring to the table, where we stay a little bit more old school wrestling style, where it's like in our characters, like being a vampire, being a devil, not referring to anybody's real life names except for the talent that we get to talk to. But I love what James brings to the table with his just personality, doing his things like the kill count, where he does such a great job breaking things down. And then I love the idea behind this many kills, this many women, this many men, this kill per time frame in the movie, which I think is a very unique thing. It's like I've never seen somebody break it down to where you average a kill every 6 minutes or every 12 minutes.
And even with Joe Bob, when he does it, it's you got slash food, you get the food. He talks about how many breasts are in the show.
Right.
If there's no breasts, he's like, what the hell kind of movie is this?
And then you got Darcy getting involved, of course.
Our Darcy, who we love so much, who brings so much love for the genre and beauty and intellectual, just her knowledge on all these films, incredible.
And just kind of like a fun thing as well, because Devil and I always love to have a certain amount of humor. Tell us a little bit about how this photo became a thing. Like, how did the cartoon Angela with the Scooby-Doo cast become a thing?
Just an amazing artist, and I think the mashup of, and I think we've seen it with some of the other films, like Art the Clown and Scooby. I think is brilliant, and I always say this is the mystery they couldn't solve.
Until you watch the movie, you just don't get it. Absolutely. When you're looking at things now, and of course you've also been working with Xander Goldman as well in a series of movies that he's done. When you look at film and roles now, as opposed to when you were green in the business, to when you would become a veteran, but of course there's still learning and excitement and scripts to read. When you look now, being a very established veteran, to the roles you look at, how do you kind of break it down mentally? Do you look at things like how much attention will it get? Am I tapping into a character that a part of my brain I've never really been to? Or, hey, there's a director or an actor that I'm finally getting to work with?
That's a great question. I would say, like, for me, it's about, you first read the script. So it's always about, like, you're feeling connected to the words on the page, the story. And then I'll usually read it knowing the character that I'm being looked at for. And then if it's exciting to me and I love the director or I love the cast, whatever it is, and usually it's at all of those things, I'm like, let's do it. I'm excited. There's never been a script that's like, I hate it or I don't want to do it. I mean, I'm up for anything, and I want to bring, some fun.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course, we definitely want to allow for the opportunity for all of the fans that are out today at Pennsylvania HorrorCon to be able to come and meet you. So, Devil, let me kick it back over to you, my friend, as we prepare for our final circle.
Yeah, so like you said, when you're talking about these old horror movies and stuff like that, with the practical effects, what do you obviously with that scene being so young, what do you remember about the practical effects of doing that with as being such a young actress and stuff like that? About something that's
All right.
so something that's
Eric Roberts just announced.
so something that's supposed to especially with something so shockingly and kind of adult oriented with you being underage. How did they handle that scene and doing that with while you were working at underage?
I mean, well, I remember I had to make the mold of my face to put on the boy.
Yeah.
So I remember the mold, and I just at the last night of shooting, they were very gentle with me, and it was myself and Paul. And then when it came time for the big reveal, I was no longer on set, and they put the mask on him, and they did the last scene. But I think everybody was always very cognizant of my being 13, and just handled me with a lot of love and a lot of gentle kid gloves, and it was just an easy process. And it was 82, so it was a different time. It was different.
Oh yeah, because we were just talking about that before. I saw an interview with Danielle Harris was talking about the Michael Myers that she worked with on a Halloween 4, and in the scene where she's in the duck and he's stabbing it, that was a real knife that they were stabbing. And she's like, that's the fucking 80s. Like, they didn't care about kids' safety as much now.
I saw her interview and her video, and I was like, that was the time.
That was the 80s.
It was different. Yeah.
So before we let you go, what other projects that you can talk about that that are coming out soon that people can see you in?
Bloody Summer Camp 2 with Joe, Bob, and Darcy.
Nice.
The Barn 3.
Yep,
super excited.
We just heard about that because our buddy is Chris that runs the Bulls House. Yeah,
okay.
He's one of our sponsors. So he told us.
We love him. I love Chris Rowan so much. There's a bunch that are coming out. My brain is always like, forgetting what I just filmed last week.
Crimson Harvest.
Crimson Harvest, The Last Sleepover with Lisa Wilcox. So many deadly endings. A lot of stuff coming out. They're going to be making Stream 2.
Yep.
I'm harassing them about being in
that. We were talking to Michael yesterday.
I was like, Michael, I played Donna. Let me play the twin sister Rana.
Yeah.
So
she can have multiple twins.
There
can be 6 different.
Triplets. I'll be all. So we'll see. A lot of fun stuff coming out.
Awesome. Yeah. And one of the things that's also very cool is, with of course you being so approachable in the con circuit, you also are, active on your socials, and we try not to go overly personal, but it looks like you also have such a good time with your kids when you're out and about and getting that family time. And considering that you're so active in your roles as well as doing the con circuit for all of your fans, how do you find the proper time to be a mother and spend time with your children? Because of course scheduling is a thing.
You have to be really diligent with how I work each minute, and I would say my kids are number one. So like I had to cancel a convention next week. I didn't realize that it's my son's birthday, and I didn't realize it was falling on that weekend, so it just didn't work out. I had to cancel because I'm taking him to Universal. So it's stuff like that. And when I'm home with them, and I don't leave the house. I just stay home, take care of them, hang with them, do activities with them. They're my everything.
Awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah. Well, Felissa, we can't thank you enough for giving us a little bit of your time. Because especially with this and your fans, we know that your time is very valuable and precious, and we can't appreciate more the last 15 or 20 minutes that you spent with us. So we really, really appreciate that. And we're so glad that you had a good time. And that's the biggest thing for me and Devil, is that you enjoyed yourself, you felt respected, you enjoyed the questions, and you felt that in any way that this interview could benefit, your continued success as an actress and everything that you give back to the community. So Fangs and Infernos, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We really appreciate you guys being so awesome. and so supportive of all the great movies that our actors and actresses get to rock out with. So thank you guys so much. We'll be back at you, but we're going to say goodbye right now when it comes to us hanging out with Felissa. So I'm Vampire, he is the Devil, but more importantly, she is the Felissa Rose, and we will see you guys real soon. Horns up, fangs out.